Hello everyone, welcome back to the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Danny Vittori, and today we're on to talk about Lynn's electric vehicle charging program that is statewide, but we are specifically talking, of course, about Lynn on this program. We are welcoming two members from the two companies working on this development. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Great, so would you mind just quickly introducing yourselves and who you work for?
Sure. So my name's Steve Conte. I work with Commonwealth Electrical Technologies. We're an electrical contractor company out in Worcester, Mass.
Great.
Good afternoon. Ron Gillooly with Leidos, and we're working as a subcontractor with Steve's company, and we're helping with the program management support.
Great. So it's a pretty large program. I know we're speaking about Lynn, but you're currently working with, 40 different communities on various stages of EV charging ports. That's right?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
It's definitely a lot of cities and towns to keep track of, but we're excited with all the participation that we've gotten so far.
And your two companies, you're collaborating. You're both working on one piece of it or another. And there's two parts of this program: feasibility studies and planning support, and then the project implementation. What are the differences between these two programs for people who are maybe not as familiar with it?
Sure. So the two offerings that this program has, the project implementation offering, which Lynn is awardee of, that offers free electric vehicle charging infrastructure for the municipalities participating. No cost design, planning, construction, even some of the ongoing costs like the charger networks, for example, those are all covered under the program. And then the other offering is the planning and feasibility studies, which are for folks who might not be ready to put charging stations in the ground just yet, but this will be a guidebook for a plan for future charging implementation.
And then ultimately, what is the ultimate goal for this on-street charging program? Ideally, what would you both love to see come out of it?
Just an increase in access to public charging infrastructure is really the goal. It's meant more for residents of these communities who are participating. It's level 2 chargers, not your fast chargers that you find at shopping centers or things like that. It's really more medium speed for residents who might not have access to their own off-street parking, and they rely on on-street parking for their vehicles. So we're trying to increase access to charging and kind of reduce the barriers to electric vehicle adoption in those communities.
And as Steve mentioned, the feasibility portion of it, that's essentially a roadmap for communities, because a lot of communities are in the same position where it's something new. They need to have a plan, and this will help them guide them along that way.
And that's one part where community involvement or engagement becomes really important, because of course the people in these communities, they're the ones using it. So you'd put out a survey really asking people, what would you like to see, what would be ideal locations, and you're gathering data from that too, correct?
Yeah, we had a very robust community outreach effort in Lynn led by Carrie Jaworski and Marcos Lugo. Carrie actually lives in the neighboring town, so she spent some time at the YMCA recruiting people to take the survey and got some really good feedback. For example, one of the residents that has an EV was particularly interested because a lot of times when they have to go charge their car, they're going to another community to charge that car. So they're very interested in on-street charging.
And what would be the timeline for this program? Is there an idea of when construction would actually start on these?
Sure. So right now we're kind of still in the planning phase. We've selected Lynn, obviously, and we've been working with Leidos and the folks at City of Lynn to select a number of preliminary sites to evaluate and to solicit feedback from the community on. Now that we have all that data, we've shared it with the city, and they're still mulling it over at the moment, and hopefully in the next few weeks we'll be able to decide on the final sites that we're going to put these charging stations in at.
So it's Lynn, the city, that will pick the sites, and it's up to 3, correct? Or different sites that they'll pick?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how many ports per site? Like how many chargers would be there?
We haven't ironed that out with the city yet, but we have budget for anywhere from 1 to 5 dual charging stations at each site. So that would be 2 to 10 plugs across the 3 sites.
And I'm just curious, obviously, with the towns, the cities that are selected for implementation, I would imagine there's a pretty large percentage or amount of people that have electric cars that use them, and then additionally, they maybe don't have the plugs in their homes. Is that an element of it as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the whole motivation behind the program.
Yeah.
Is folks that don't have driveways, don't have garages, don't have a way to charge their vehicle, is to increase the amount of on-street charging so that they do have access to charging. And it may influence them to purchase an EV if they have greater access to charging.
I know, because I know that was an element too. I know I have a hybrid right now as well, but one thing, I did look at Electrical little, and that was a big piece of it was, okay, would we actually build a charger where we are? Is there access to it? I know that's a big piece of it when you're looking at electric cars.
Yeah, I've lived in apartments where I park on the street, and I never thought I could get an EV just because I don't have a driveway with a charging station. So having that public on-street charger access would be huge for some of these residents.
And circling back to, you mentioned, what did you say, charger level 2? So there's different levels of charging. So how long does that take to charge versus, like you said, a level 3, which is faster?
Yeah, level 2 is meant more for those long dwell time kind of situations, like for residential where folks are just charging up when they get home from work in the evenings or overnight. But level 2 chargers, typically if you're starting from empty, it'll fill your battery in about 6 to 8 hours. But a lot of times folks, like I said, are charging at the end of the day after their daily commute. So they're typically just topping off. They're not starting from an empty battery.
Okay. Interesting. And I'll circle back a little bit to the survey, the community input. Have you been able to draw any conclusions from that data so far, or is it really just preliminary right now? You're still going through it.
No, we've been able to draw some conclusions there. And what we've done is we've taken feedback from that survey and develop a community score. And there's other factors that go into that community score, such as permitting, ease of electrical installation. Combined together, we came up with community score that we've been working with the city of Lynn on.
That's good. Yeah, of course, because the sites, you have to be able to install the electrical piece of it, so tie all of that in.
It can be a hard piece of it, yeah.
Yeah, we're looking at a whole lot of different considerations with these sites that the city is considering, and we provided our recommendations, and now it's going to be up to them which ones they want to actually move forward with.
And I know a big piece of it that you mentioned is this isn't something that taxpayers have to fund. It's not something you have to worry about. It's ARPA funding. Yes?
That's correct. Yeah, this is through the American Rescue Plan Act from the previous administration that the Mass CEC is now administering through a number of programs. So this funding is not through the City of Lynn's taxpayers or anything like that. It's a no-cost opportunity for the city paid through this federal grant.
And that's huge, because people might think, oh, this could be good to use, but am I paying for it? How would that work? So that's a big
Yeah,
relief.
you get the cross-subsidy concerns.
Yeah, exactly. And I will ask, I know I maybe should have asked this before, but what are your roles specifically? What have they been in this whole process? Because this has been a lengthy procedure so far.
Yeah, we've been working since last November on this program, and it's going to go until the end of next year, 2026. But I'm the program manager over at Commonwealth, kind of overseeing our efforts, and Ron is sort of the counterpart for Leidos.
Yeah, so Leidos Engineering, we've collaborated with Commonwealth, and that's gone very well. We have relationships with folks over at Commonwealth dating back to 15 years. So the organizations know each other well, we work well together, and it's been a really great team to work with.
And I'll ask a little bit about so when the construction begins, you're starting to put them in. How long does it take to install these kinds of chargers, do you know?
It's surprisingly not that long when you consider the whole timeline of the project. Really the long timeline items are permitting and the utility requests and everything like that. When it comes to actually putting shovels in the ground, it shouldn't be more than 3 or 4 days of construction. It's
Oh, wow, really?
yeah, relatively small projects in the grand scheme of things.
I don't know why I guess I always just assume that it'll take longer. I don't know why I have that assumption in my head, but.
A lot of steps involved, and a lot of them do take long, but the actual construction's not too bad.
That's great. That'll be good for people to have that and immediately have the access to it. Like you said, once you get through all the permitting and utilities, of course.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Now, I will ask about, so you're starting to do it in Lynn, you're starting to do it in all of these other communities. What has the process or the feedback you've gotten so far? Has it been mostly positive? Have people been interested in the programs?
Yeah, definitely. It's not often that you get a totally free program for municipalities, so it's something that a lot of folks are excited about. As far as the communities that we're looking to get feedback from, it's been a mixed bag. Overall, I would say the response from the community members has been positive, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that's been really positive is just working with the local officials, the DPW, the planners, the parking supervisors. That has worked out really well, and there's definitely been a high level of engagement on that end.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, there are. There's fantastic teams there. I mean, I can only speak to Lynn, but I'm sure there's been many.
Yeah, very good to work with.
Yeah, definitely.
And now I'm trying to think, I know I've reviewed at least gone through all of my questions, all of my points, but before I wrap up, was there anything else that you wanted to mention about the program, how it works, or anything that I may not have touched upon?
I think we hit the big items. We're very excited to be working with Lynn on this effort, and we can't wait to put some charges in the ground for the Lynn residents.
Yeah, we're excited to be part of the transportation transformation, if you will, from internal combustion engines to electric vehicles, because electric vehicles, they just make sense. There's a lot fewer moving parts, and basically they're a lot more fun to drive.
I know that's so cool, and that I'm really excited to see where this project goes. You're getting through so many parts, and we'll see these in a few months, but I want to thank you both again so much to really come and to talk to our audience about this and really get us excited about this program.
Great.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Of course, anytime, and you can visit their websites or check this out to learn more yourself. But for now, I'm Danny Vittori. This has been Lynn Lowdown, and we will see you next week with more guests.